a full and adequate sexual relationship with whomever it is they are in love, will often turn to the seeking of danger and dangerous pursuits in order to compensate for the sexual frustrations that they're suffering. And in one way, I myself, as a minor part of my work, I certainly am dedicated to the fullest outspokenness about everything sexual that we can possibly say, the growth of it, the more and more of outspokenness.
Jones and Carlton Mitchell are both obsessed with skin diving and the Caribbean, the setting of Jones' latest novel, Go to the Widowmaker. Mitchell is well known as a deep-water sailor and author.
Encounters with sharks?
Well, the only time I was ever really scared. And as a matter of fact, I used this experience in the book, in Widowmaker, where I'd gone over the side alone from this boat, and I'd shot a fish, and suddenly an express train went by me, And actually, I had my arm out holding the fish, which was not dead, at the end of the spirit gun in the line, and this thing just scraped the bejesus out of me, But he didn't go for me, he went for the fish.
Oh.
The impact of the shark grabbing the fish at the end of the line broke the line, which was a very thick line, and pulled the spear gun out of my hand and made my hand absolutely numb and scraped the hell out of my side. And it looked like somebody had gone down my side with a comb, with fine steel, stainless steel comb. But I think I swam up so fast that I came all the way out to my knees, before I fell back. And everybody in the boat, I was the only one overside. There were 3 or 4 other people, and it all started roaring with laughter, and I was hollering, shark, shark. And my pride was hurt,
You bet she raised.
I bet she raised. I re-raised her. That's correct.
No.
The Joneses keep late hours and go out 4 or 5 nights a week. On Sunday, there's open house for poker with a generous supply of liquor. There are many celebrated expatriates among their friends. Nicholas Ray, the film director. Irwin Shaw, author of The Young Lions. The painter, Don Fink. Jones plays with the ritual and superstition of the professional gambler. Several $100s exchange hands during the evening.
50, 20, and 30 makes 100 to you. He raised 50. She raised 30, and she raised 20. It's 100. 0. Right on the button, Jimmy.
Come on! All right, say pass. Never mind turning around backwards. Just get off of there and go away.
Do anything.
I mean, you can't have 2 players for 1 hand. All right, I'm out already.
Not Jim, stop.
Go away!
She's going to play in my
No. Are you going to be hurt? You look like witches stirring the pot.
You're on
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to go skiing. I don't give a damn. Down, boy.
Jones has earned and spent prodigious sums of money. His $85,000 house in America was filled with rifles, pistols, figurines, chessmen, and toy soldiers, as though he had to have in bulk what childhood had denied him. And yet, a house full of childhood's dreams achieved did not create security for Jones. His is not a calm world or a satisfied one.
Scared the Jesus out of me. Scared me to death.
I turned down the winning hand.
Well, that's what I call high sport. What do you want?
Jones's involvement with a single book may last from 4 to 6 years. This lonely, ritual part of his life is organized by his wife, Gloria. They live with their 2 young children in a flat overlooking the Seine on the Ile St. Louis. He says of his work, I write slowly and painfully and inconclusively, never sure that what I've written is worth the effort, that what I've begun is worth finishing.
Usually I have a period or a milieu, period and a milieu and then a group of characters which somewhat come from life, you know, but are all changed so that, I mean, they all change themselves. And a theme that I try to state fairly simply, I try to make a statement of it in a fairly simple sentence. And then I just sort of throw them in the pot, you know, and let them stew, and that's when the writing part starts, you know. Well, I mean, everything's sort of centered around those 4 to 6 hours work a day, you know. I get up and I loaf around and I drink some tea or coffee and read the papers, and I'm getting my head in gear, sort of. Depending on what time I get up, you know. If I get up at 9, which is getting more rare, you know, I'll be at work by 11. I'll work till 5, and the whole household is geared around that work period, you know. For instance, I can't eat before I work. If I eat, I just get loggy and dull. So usually when I quit, I'll have a bite to eat or a couple of drinks, and then try to get over having worked, you know. That takes about 4 hours. It's not the easiest pursuit in the world. You're sitting there concentrating, and your mind and spirit are exhausted, and your body isn't. Your body is all keyed up and high from the mental occupation, and you can't get it to calm down. The concentration it takes in those 4 or 5 or 6 hours of writing are just not natural to the human animal, I think. Hyde Park Corner, isn't it?
Is that what it is?
Looks like. Elle est 3 ici.
Là, c'est 7000 pièces.
7000 pièces.
70. 70 pièces.
Ça, c'est le dernier prix.
Non,
We need more than, you know.
I think that's too expensive.
Yeah, I know. She said she knows.
Well, think about it.
Jones had stayed single until his mid-30s. It had seemed as though his life would not tolerate marriage. For 13 years, he was learning his craft and was deeply involved with his patron. Despising a bohemian life with other artists, he traveled in a trailer caravan in the Midwest. He can discuss his work with his wife, and he enjoys life at home. One of their favorite haunts is the Paris flea market.
Buy those,
I
actually.
didn't like it.
You know? The one is good. It's for 5 mil.
No.
Well, we need about 3 or 4 more.
Well, let's wait. Please.
He sees France as a place where the unwieldy and ancient bureaucratic machine makes a favorable climate for a writer. A spiritual exile like many of his generation, he's highly critical of the American political and domestic scene. He's proud that his children are bilingual, and he's dedicated to building a home in France. And yet, he will return to America while his children go to college.
Look at it.
It'd be great for the kids.
D'emménager.
Qu'est-ce qu'on met ici à mettre ici les choses?
I think we are. Yeah, I do.
Chaque coup.
Go ahead, write it yourself.
Oh, you write it. Go ahead. I have a pen. Cecil.